Alright, so the next thing we're doing today is finding the equation of a line. Alright, so we're going straight into examples here. They've given you a table and it says find the equation that best describes this table of values. Now it's a multiple choice question, so when it's multiple choice sometimes we'll operate a little bit differently. So the easiest way to do this multiple choice is to actually look at the first response, which is A, and we want to know if that's going to work or not. So it's y equals 2x plus 1. So what I'm doing is I am looking at this table. Now I can take any point in the table to start the test. I've chosen not to start with the point minus 1, 3 because there's a negative number in there and there's more mistakes we could make with the negative. So I'm choosing to start my working with the point 0, 1. So I'm going to take that point 0, 1 and see if it fits into the answer they gave us in A. So remember that we're asking is y equal to 2x plus 1, and remember there's a times between the 2 and the x. And now we're going to put in 0 for x and 1 for y. So we're going to say is, putting in these numbers remember, 1 equal to 2 times 0 plus 1. So then we're working out 2 times 0 plus 1 on our calculator. When you work all that out there, you get 1. So does 1 equal 1? Yes. So it looks like it might be working, but you can't just test one point. So we're going to move to the next point along, 1 minus 1, and test that one. So let's see what happens when we test this point. Alright, we'll start again. Is y equal to 2x plus 1? So we're going to put in 1 for x and minus 1 for y. So let's put them in. And now we're saying is minus 1 equal to 2 times 1 plus 1. If you work 2 times 1 plus 1 out on your calculator, you will get 3. So does minus 1 equal 3? No. So even though we got a yes on the first point, we're getting a no now. So A is not the answer. It has to work on all the points. So now we're moving to B to see if that works. So the B is y equals 2x minus 1. I'm going to start again with this point 0, 1 and see if it works. Is y equal to 2 times x minus 1? Let's put in 0 for x and 1 for y and see what happens. Is 1 equal to 2 times 0 minus 1? Work out this on your calculator. 2 times 0 minus 1 is minus 1. So does 1 equal minus 1? No. So we straight out get a no on that. So we can move straight on to C and test that one out. So this is C, y equals x minus 2. Again, we're putting in the point 0, 1. 0 for x and y for 1. So now we're going to say, is y equal to x minus 2? Put in 0 for x and 1 for y. Is 1 equal to 0 minus 2? 0 minus 2 is minus 2. Does 1 equal minus 2? No. So we've got a no for C. So A hasn't worked, B hasn't worked, C hasn't worked. Our answer has to be D. Okay, so you could go and check that it actually does work, but believe me, it does. Okay, so we're moving on. We're looking at question 2. So we're doing for each graph, we're going to complete the table, that's the first thing, and then we're going to use the table to find the equation of the line. So let's just see how it works here. Alright, so the first thing they've done is drawn you a graph, so you can see the graph. And from that graph, we're going to fill in our table. Now it's easy to do, you just got to find the points. So here's our table, now they've said x is 0. So if x is 0, let's go to our line. Here's our point. So that point there has the coordinates of 0, minus 3. So we fill in down here, minus 3. Okay, the next point we can see, we need x equal to 1. So here's x equals 1, go to the line. There's the point they're talking about. And that's the point 1 minus 2. So we go to our table, there's our 1, and then we fill in our minus 2 underneath. So this next point here, 2, so it's across 2 down to minus 1. And this next one, across to 3, and we don't go anywhere, so that's 0. So what we've done is put all these points in, haven't we? And they're all in the table now. So now we have to find the equation of the line. So remember when we're doing that, and this is not multiple choice, you've got to do it yourself, we're going to draw arrows. Now I'm a bit disappointed looking at some of the work so far that people have not been drawing in these arrows. A few of you have been, but a lot of you haven't been. So what that's going to do then, if you don't keep drawing the arrows in like I tell you, you're going to start thinking of patterns going along that way. And then you're going to get a lot of questions wrong. Okay, you have to think it's going down, down, down in each case. If you're not thinking like that, a lot of these you can get wrong. So drawing the arrows. I'm not drawing them on the board for nothing. Okay, so we've got to think, what are we doing to the top line to get the bottom? Top to get the bottom, top to get the bottom, top to get the bottom. So remember with these, it's easier to look over here to see what's happening. So what have we done to 3 to get an answer of 0? Well, it's gone smaller, so we've either subtracted or maybe divided. We'll see. So it looks like a quick one would be that we're subtracting 3 to get 0. Let's see if that works. 2 take away 3. Does that give you -1? Check it on your calculator. Do 2 minus 3 equals. It gives you -1, doesn't it? So it does work. Let's check one more. Take away 3. 1 minus 3. Check it on your calculator. It does give you -2. So this is working. That's what's going on. So we write our rule down starting with our bottom letter. Our bottom letter is Y, so make sure you always start your rule with your bottom letter. Okay, and what are we doing? We're taking the X and we're subtracting 3. That's your rule, so that's finished. Okay, the next one. I forgot to draw the line in on this one. Let me have a quick look and see what it looked like. Oh yeah, this is what it's supposed to look like, so let's just draw it in so you can see what it should have been. Alright, so this is the line I'm giving you. Alright, now we're going to complete the table from this line, so let's have a look at it. Alright, so we have X values from -1 all the way up to 2 on our table. I'm going to go through them in order. So here's -1, our X value of -1. Go to the line. There it is. That's the point we need right there. Let's write down its coordinates. It's -1, 1. So put the 1 underneath. Okay, the next one is when you've got an X of 0. Well, that's right there. So it's 0, 0. We're right on the origin with that one. Okay, the next point. Along to 1, down to -1. So they've got 1. We're going to write -1. And then the next one is along to 2. I haven't got a point here, but you can imagine where it would be. Let's see. About there. So that would be along to down -2 and fill in your table. Okay, now again, we've got the table filled in. We've got to try and find the equation of the line. Draw in your arrows. Nobody leaving them out. Okay, we're looking top to bottom. What have we done to the top to get the bottom? What have we done to 2 to get -2? Looks like we might have subtracted 4. Let's see if that works. 2 take away 4 gives you -2. Check on your calculator. Let's see if it works here. 1 take away 4. Use your calculator. Now that gives you -3. Doesn't give you this. So this is not working. So I'm not going to use that one. What else have we done to the top to get to the bottom? Well, maybe we have times by -1. Let's see if that works. Times by -1. So 2 times -1 gives you -2. 1 times -1 does give you -1. 0 times -1 does give you 0, and minus 1 times minus 1 does give you 1. So it works in all of them. So that's the one we want. So let's write our rule down. Start with your bottom letter. Y equals. Always start with your bottom letter. Okay, now, what did we do? We took the x and we times it by minus 1. Now this one you can simplify, so we are going to simplify this. So we can leave out the times and make sure you put your number first. So that would be minus 1x. And we always actually leave out the 1 in these things, so the best answer you can give is y equals minus x. Alright, let's look at another example. Again, we've got a line given to you, and it straight out just goes, find the equation of the line. So this is the hardest kind of question you can get, because they want you to be able to think through the processes, and they've given you no hints. Right, so you're looking at it and going, right, how am I going to find the equation of this line? I don't know. They've given you multiple choice answers, but it doesn't really help that much. So we're going to go through the process we've just learnt about, which is write down a table of values from the graph and then try and get the equation. So let's see. If we do a table with x and y in it, now there's a couple of really obvious x values in it, 0 and 1. And probably if we keep going we could get something else. But because it's probably important that the half comes out, I think we might make it a 0 and a 1. And I'm going to put the half in between because I think there's a lot going on in between the 0 and the 1 here. So I'm going to put in a half here. Alright, now this point here is 0 minus 2. So let's fill in our table, 0 minus 2. Now let's do the 1. So this point up the top here is 1, 0. So there's 1, 0 in the table. Now, the half, I can put that in here. It's right there in the middle. And if I go down, I'm going to land there. Now that point is 1 half minus 1. Okay, so now we've got a table and we're now going to try and get our rule from our table. Draw your arrows in, nobody leaving them out. Okay, top to bottom. Okay, now what have we done to the 1 to get a 0? Well, we might have done a minus 1. Let's see if that works. 1 half minus 1, does that give you that? Use your calculator and see. A half, take away 1, gives you minus a half. It doesn't give you minus 1. So that's not working. Alright, what else could we be doing? A bit tricky this one, isn't it? To get to a 0, you can't really, you could times by a 0, that'll get you a 0, but times that by 0, that's not going to work. Times that by 0, that's not going to work, so that's not happening. So we're not timesing by 0. Cross that one out. And to get an answer of 0, you can't really divide by anything. So this looks like it's one of those ones that mixes a couple of things together. So I think this question is difficult. So we're going to write this down as a hard question. So a lot of you boys are not going to be able to do a question like this in a test. But even if you give it some sort of a go and get the table out, you're probably likely to get some marks for it. So at least get to the table point. All right, so let's have a think what else we can do here. We might be multiplying by something and subtracting something. Let's have a think. What could we do? You have a little think, I'll have a little think, and we'll see if we can come back. So a bit of thinking time. Okay, why don't we try, I think this might work. Why don't we times by 2. So 1 times 2 gives you 2. Then I can take away 2 to get my 0. Let's see if that works. 1/2 times 2. Get your calculator out. 1/2 times 2 take away 2. 1/2 times 2 take away 2 equals. Use your calculator. It does give you -1, so that's working. Let's try one more. 0 times 2 minus 2. Use your calculator. 0 times 2 minus 2. It does give you -2. So that's working. So we're going to start our equation with our bottom letter, y equals. So we're getting x. We're timesing by 2 and we're minusing 2. And this bit here, we're just going to write with the number before the letter. And that's your final answer. But as I said, that question is a bit tricky. I don't expect anyone to sort of get that out in a test situation. But at least you can get to the point where you can draw the table and then have a think about it. Okay, so we're coming back in one more video just to do a few other different things.